This meeting is being recorded.
There we go. I'm just going to change the aspect of my camera because I had it set as, you know, how they're doing short format video these days in portrait as opposed to landscape. So I thought of maybe taking this and breaking it up into little sections and hitting it on TikTok and Insta as short format, you know.
Wow. Millennial style.
Don't get cheeky now, bro. We're the same age. You know
Hey.
that. You know that. You know that.
We're
You know
both
that,
we're both mid-40s millennials. It's fine.
Okay, so I'm in a quandary. What do I do here? Do I change my camera angle or what do I do, bro? This is how it is at the moment. Or do I flip it up and then just crop in and do a portrait? I think I'm going to do that.
I really only shoot with my phone. Oh yeah. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's do it, bro. Thank you so much, Mr. Chris Cote. You are an absolute legend for coming on the show and always having time for me. And, you know, I've got this little saying like, help South African surf culture. And this is what it's all about. I don't think there's enough of a connect between, you know, America and Europe and South Africa. And I think it runs deep into, you know, beyond just our connect, but even to some of the athletes on tour, maybe, you know, we don't have this strong enough bond. Maybe it's because South America is closer to America that maybe there is that. But I'm getting pretty deep very quickly. But thanks for coming on the show.
My subscription to Zigzag magazine ran out, so my connection is you, basically. You, Maddie McGillivray, Jordy Smith, Travlogi, you know? These are Mikey Fabs. So my connection is through people like yourself.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? How do we, you know, I just wanted to say to you, I was with Peter Hamblin a couple of weeks ago in Sweden and London. You know, Pete, he did the movie with Carissa Moore, and he recently did Sweet Adventure and was at the Salento Film Festival recently. I'm sure you attended one or two of the nights, didn't you?
Yeah. I'm sure I've met Peter. Very talented, great filmmaker.
Yeah.
So far, all hits. All he does is hits.
Yep. We are busy making a film about a young snowboarder who turned his back on the Swedish national team to represent South Africa, to honor the legacy of his grandfather, who was a political activist and left South Africa during the apartheid years at the age of 17, didn't see his family for 38 years. All of his letters were stopped, came back when apartheid had fallen away, and all of his family were deceased. And his grandson, who grew up in Sweden, top 5 snowboarders in the world when he graduated, Swedish national coach phones him up and says, "You're going to come snowboard for Sweden?" And he says, "No, I'm going to represent South Africa." And so we've got this beautiful backstory and history of his family with the Mandela family and how he's made this really ludicrous, seemingly business-wise ludicrous choice to not represent Sweden, but actually snowboard for South Africa. And we're on this journey, and Peter Hamblin is coming on board as the director to this film. So it's a pretty exciting time to, you know, to be working on a project like this.
It's very cool.
Are you a mouth breather or a nose breather?
Well, lately, kind of a mix of both. Most of America is taking turns getting sick every other week. I among them. So sometimes I'm a nose breather, sometimes I'm a mouth breather. I prefer to breathe through my nose. That's to me that's optimal. But
yeah.
You know, that I've never taken any breathing training from Laird or anybody like that, so I might be doing it wrong. Why do you ask?
No. Lately, I've been at night. I've been using surgical tape, and I've been taping my mouth shut, and it forces me to spend the night breathing through my nose, and it was laying on my desk, and it's just done wonders for me actually, in terms of how I wake up feeling. It's even altered the way in which I dream. It's just quite wild.
Really?
Yeah.
I think at night maybe I do both. Like I don't snore. When I quit drinking, I quit snoring. So that's another byproduct of that, a
Yeah.
positive byproduct of that.
Mm-hmm. The last time we spoke, it was on my last channel, so it would be cool to kind of I want to break this into a couple segments: the past, kind of now, and then the future. The past being, for the South African audience, Mr. Chris Cote and your legacy, having worked with quite a few of some of the surfers that we deem as heroes. The tour that you did in Europe, maybe you want to bring everyone up to speed with that again, if you don't mind.
The drive-through series
Yeah,
in Europe.
just drop, just name drop like a Mo.
I'll give you a brief resume, right? Oh, I have it
Yeah,
right
thanks.
here. I was
For
the
those
editor-in-chief at Transworld Surf magazine.
That's
There,
it.
that's Corey Lopez doing a floater.
Free DVD
Currently
with
the
that
editor-
issue.
There you go. Yeah, you did. You got free DVD. I wonder if it's still in there.
No.
There it is. The
Sick.
Globe Fiji Pro.
Question,
This was
Mr. Cote, do you even have a DVD player?
I do not.
Problem.
I do not. And my computer doesn't have one either. Yeah, I've been in and around the surf world for a long time. I still love surfing as much as ever. It's a passion. It's a love affair. It causes FOMO. It gets me excited. I almost accidentally missed this call due to surfing, which I've missed many calls due to surfing, as I'm sure you have as well. I am kind of among those who deal with the world through positive lenses, and I think surfing is to be shared. I think it's to be celebrated and to be enjoyed. I think it's really it's a lot easier to pile negativity on surfing and the things that surround it than it is to embrace it with positivity. But I choose the positive route. I obviously, if you may have seen me as a talking head on World Surf League events or skate events around the world. I get to do what I love, which is talk about and do these things: surfing, skateboarding, snowboarding, fun stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm available randomly at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday morning here in America to take an hour to have some fun with my friend Steve.
And I appreciate that. Thank you. Because let's face it, you've got a extremely busy schedule. I don't quite know how you do it. Yeah, look, we won't go into the drive-by, but basically, Mr. Chris Cote has spent time for years and years and years with the best surfers you've ever dreamed of. And that's all you need to know. In terms of your schedule, 2022, because we spoke in 2021, was an interesting time. The world was kind of reawakening and kicking back into gear. But how would you compare this year to last year? Because you've had a packed schedule, dude. Right from the get-go, you've been on the ground. You've been, as you say, talking head at most of the events. Give us an insight into your 2022 diary.
2022, so in 2021, I wrote a song about being a nail biter because I used to bite my fingernails, and I haven't bit them in a few years or a few days. So I was like most people, very excited for 2022. It started off in a huge way. I got to go commentate at the Billabong Pipe Pro. What was it called? The Billabong Pro Pipeline, where Kelly Slater basically did the impossible, came back into true GOAT form. That was an incredible way to start the year, a memorable event in all of the events that I've done. So that was just an epic Kickstarter. I've gone through a couple different jobs, different gigs since then, and so it's been fun to, when you have your own business, when you kind of do your own thing, filling the schedule becomes a something you need to do. And I pretty much say yes to most reasonable offers. I've hosted everything from World Surf League events throughout the year, ISA events, done some skate events for Red Bull. I've done
Mountain Dew.
I've done a couple interesting contests. I did the One Wheel World Championships this
Saw that.
spring, which was pretty amazing. I mean, talk about niche, fun, exciting one-day event. That was awesome. Brazil or El Salvador, I packed a lot of trips in. I spent a lot of time in Huntington Beach at various events. So it was a great year. It was pretty varied. I see kind of the full year on the WSL Championship Tour as, of course, an amazing thing to be a part of. But at the same time, that's 10 months out of the year that you're pretty much gone. So for me, I really like to be able to kind of go in and out of a lot of different events, different sports. Right now, I'm waiting, fingers crossed, hoping that the Big Wave World Tour events go down. That would be an amazing way to end the year. Start it at Pipeline, end it at Nazare or Jaws. So only about a month left, at least in this year. So luckily, those events will go through to spring. But I'm really happy about 2022. It was a great year for me work-wise. My family life is wonderful. So that balance of being able to work and travel and, while I'm at home, fit in a lot of things, not only in the work realm, but in the artistic realm. For me, my artistic outlets are playing music, writing, making vlogs and stupid videos. So I do have time to indulge in that. And I think most importantly is I have time to be a dad. I have my kids every other week. And so, I have had a lot of time with them, which, is obviously more important than any work or any gig that you can get. So it's been a really fun year, just both planning routes and being connected at home with the family and also getting out there. And I don't know if I traveled as much as I would have liked to. When I was doing more skate events, when there was more skate events, I had the opportunity to go to some different places, landlocked, but I guess, city kind of trips that you don't usually get to do with surfing.
Yeah.
But I also feel like 2022 has been a big kind of setup year, setting things up for 2023 and 2024, which every year seems like, but I don't know, it feels good to kind of have things on the calendar locked in and, have ideas of other ways to fill that time. And, I don't really worry. I'm not like concerned about money per se. I'm definitely not rich. But if I can make enough money to pay my rent, car payment, buy some food, maybe maybe a nice dinner with the wife every once in a while, I'm happy. I've kind of got to a place where I value experience and time spent with, meaningful time spent. I feel like that's more valuable to me than making a lot of money, for better or for worse.
Totally resonates, bro, because I too have two young sons. I get you. I understand. I'm amazed at the way in which you find that balance and the way in which you've got to that point where you can, you balance the workload, because you seem to be, because you say you take most gigs, you seem to be in everyone's face at every single event that we in the that we in the counterculture like pay attention to. And that's what I dig about your energy and your vibe. It's definitely through the same sort of rose tinted glasses that I look through life through. Positivity, inclusion, and just spreading love essentially. What's it like preparing behind the scenes for like the WSL events?
I think for big WSL events, for me, when you kind of have a month or two off between events. So, I had Pipeline, a couple events in the middle, but then I had the Oi Rio Pro, which became an actually really critical event for a lot of the surfers involved, to stay on tour, all those things that kind of happen midway through. So I think for me, I like to lean heavily into the personalities and the storylines going into the event beyond the numbers. I think the numbers are great because it kind of gives you a baseline of what to do your research on. You've got a lot of surfers that are just barely hanging in there, and it's kind of fun to kind of try to figure out both, what the viewers want to know, what the surfers want the viewers to know, and then of course what the league wants the viewers to know and to hear about. I kind of put myself in a position of, sometimes I'm sitting next to an old lady on a plane, really trying to explain these complex things happening in the water in a palatable way for someone that doesn't know, and also talking to the coolest of the cool, whether it's a surfer in the event that is watching the event back at their hotel and preparing for their next heat. You kind of have to look at the whole audience, and to me, try to bridge that gap between what's happening in front of you and what the people at home want to see. So preparation wise, it's just kind of looking at the last few events, trying to kind of hone in on the storylines coming into those contests. And the WSL does an amazing job of giving you all the information that you need, all the stats, kind of the stories that they're seeing. So they arm you with all the weapons you need to make an entertaining broadcast. And I think, for me, I kind of challenged myself a little bit to not only be at these events, but also produce my new low-key surf vlog, Surf Machine. And that actually motivates me to stay around the contest areas, to, be present in and out of when I'm actually working. You do have a lot of downtime at some of these contests where you have multiple lay days. You've got an hour or two between heats that you're calling. So there's a lot happening behind the scenes. And, this new kind of vlog thing that I've been doing has really helped keep me kind of motivated to do more. Brazil is a good example of me just kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to show in my personal vlog. And I've since kind of changed my format since then, but it was, I'm the type of person, like, I don't like being at the hotel. I don't like, watching movies in my room on a trip. I do that at night nowadays because I don't really party that hard anymore. But during the daytime, I want to really soak up as much as I can. Like, I don't know if I'll ever go back to Brazil. You never know, right? And so for me, I fend off the FOMO by getting out there and doing stuff. And the kind of byproduct of that is compliments like you gave me of, I want to lead by example and show people that I'm a hard worker, and I try to use every moment to be productive. I definitely chill. I'm very good at that. I will sit on my couch for a day, no problem. But when I'm working, when I'm at these events, I really try to give it everything and try to remain truly focused on the contest and what's happening in the broadcast, but also doing things for myself, like touristy stuff. And I don't know, I guess just trying to bring everybody into this, to me, it's a pretty interesting kind of lifestyle and a really cool job. So I think sharing that with people is a kind of another goal that I'm trying to do. That was a very long-winded answer to your easy question.
No worries,
Yes,
bro.
I like
No
being
worries.
prepared.
No worries. um, so WSL finals, the way in which you were
Yes.
commentating, the way in which you were commentating, and the energy that you're putting out there, was that something that you came up with, or was that mandated by the WSL?
It was a bit of a mix. You know, I think the WSL's concept was to have this kind of on-site preheat excitement builder, you know, with the surfer introductions. You
Yeah.
know, in hindsight, I look back at it and I may have leaned in a little too hard on the kind of boxing UFC style intro. But you know, while it was going on, it was interesting to see the crowd reaction of at first they didn't know what the hell was going on. Why is this guy yelling at us from over there? After the second or third introduction, they started to get in the spirit of it, and it actually made it really fun. I definitely saw a lot of pro and con comments online, and I appreciate all of that. It was a directive, you know, from the top. If
Yep.
you want to, if you want to do a good job as a commentator, or you know, any type of person in the entertainment field, I guess, you know, listening to direction is a pretty big key element to that. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was something brand new that hadn't really been done in the WSL level. You know, I did it at the Olympics in Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
Different type of kind of pomp and circumstance, I guess you would call it. More pulled back, more just kind of basic introduction. But I thought
Mm-hmm.
for the WSL finals, it would be fun to get out there and really kind of set the tone. You know, it was a very serious day for sure for the surfers involved. So it was fun to kind of get in the mix in that way. Will they do it again? I don't know. I would definitely do it again if they asked me. I would have, you know, probably would have preferred to be in the booth calling heats, but at the same time to kind of try something new and build that visceral excitement on the beach and
Mm-hmm.
watch the surfers, you know, because they didn't really they haven't really dealt with that kind of introduction. We did it a little bit in Brazil, but it was full on at Trestles, and you know, I don't for all the kind of comments that I read, you know, I don't think it was probably 50% or maybe it's like 30 30 35 35 35. Who knows? I'm not very good at math, but some people liked it, some people hated it, some people did not care and it didn't affect their viewing experience. So I thought it was fun,
Exactly.
and I think a spectacle in sport is, you know, it's like every other sport does it. If you watch American football, you know, the
Mm.
first 20 minutes of the game is hyping up these stars, right? And I think
Yeah.
that's kind of what we were trying to achieve there is just building the hype and setting the drama and kind of setting the tone. Like this is a battle. This is going to be you know, a real kind of a sporting moment. And so
Mm.
I think setting that up was the goal there. And admittedly, maybe I leaned too far into the combat sports realm, but I had a lot of fun doing it, and that was a great day. I had a great time.
Well, I think you're an outlier, and you're willing to be the one to put his hand up to try something new, and you're always going to have you're going to split a crowd when it comes to something like that. But at the end of the day, I think what you've also done is you've created a spirit of fun and cool energy to a very serious moment within these athletes' careers. And that's what
Yeah,
makes it entertaining. You know, it's like Peter Hamlin says, you know, so many surf filmmakers, they make surf movies where the people who aren't into surfing, they're sitting there watching this for 2 hours, some guy narrating. And like for us surfers, it's great. But like for the average Joe, it's like what's going on here? It's just like somebody talking. And how do you make that entertaining so that it's inclusive and that other people get it and it becomes entertaining? And I think that's what you did, you know. And that's, you know, in my mind, it's a positive energy, it's not a negative one. And irrespective of how it was received, I think it gave, if anything, it got people listening, And even if they
Yeah.
were commenting from a negative perspective, it like was, hey, there's a change afoot here. There's something new going on.
For sure. And I think that surfers as a whole, whether it's people that just purely love to watch surf events and kind of casually surf, or vice versa, top pros, we are pretty reluctant to change. When the WSL announces their new schedule, when they said that we're starting at Pipeline, it was like somebody was sent out to take everybody's surfboards away. People were freaking out. How could you do this? They don't like change. And I for one, I love change. I love the idea of flipping the storyline, starting like you're shot out of a cannon, and thankfully it worked. You couldn't have had a better start to the season. Slater doing what he did, Pipeline, A+ conditions throughout the whole event. You definitely didn't hear a lot of complaints during the contest as to why we were starting there. So, I think tooling around with the schedule, with, the mid-season cut now, the big outcry about the mid-season cut that went on. I think people get it now. Is it perfect? No. But, I always think of like, people can whine and complain all day, but if you don't have ideas of how to fix it, then it's just a whinge or a complaint. It's not,
Right.
it's not, I'll take constructive criticism all day long.
As long as you
I'll
got a
take,
solution to that as well.
yeah, come up with an idea. But I think that the World Surf League, and I always get accused of being part of the wall of positive noise, but it's surfing. It's supposed to be fun, and
Exactly.
it's is it perfect? Again, no. But is it entertaining? Is it exciting? Do we get to watch the best surfing in the world and the best waves in the world more often than not? Yes. So
Yep.
I love it. I'm as big a fan now as I always have been. If they fired me now, I would still watch all the events and celebrate them. Luckily, I get to be a part of it. So I'm a surf fan, and I think that we've kind of come to an age in the past 5 or so years where being a surf nerd and a surf fan and playing fantasy and talking about surfboards in the parking lot and talking about Jack Robinson's last wave when you're it's all this stuff is totally great, and it's totally acceptable. We can all be surf nerds. It didn't used to be cool to like follow pro surfing, and everybody wanted to wear black wetsuits and be emo, but now it's like you can celebrate everything.
Exactly.
It's all fun.
Exactly. Yeah, it tempers that seriousness because let's face it, being an athlete, you have to have a focus and a level of seriousness. And, there's a difference between the athlete in the water and people watching the athlete in the water. There's a huge difference, and whether they aspire to be that athlete and they actually get off their butt to want to be an athlete are two totally different things. They're probably never going to do that. So you're there as a spectator to be entertained. And like you say, how do we increase it so that more and more people actually enjoy the sport, as opposed to it being like this, we're just watching a bunch of athletes like being serious about their goals in life, essentially. So I totally get it.
I think, talking about things that, again, it used to be pretty taboo for a commentator or a surfer to say that it's scary out there, to say that wave is terrifying, to say,
Yep.
I feel like setting that context for the viewer, look, this wave will kill you if you make a wrong move. You can die. And I don't think that's superlative. A lot of these places, it's true. And, I think trying to help elevate these surfers to where they belong in the realm of athlete is huge, because anybody who's ever tried surfing even once knows how hard it is. When you amplify that at a place like Pipeline, Jaws, Chopo, I mean, these are waves that want nothing more than to destroy these humans. And so I feel like any surfer brave enough to get out there it's a win in my book. And if you mix bravery with skill and you can, you know, ride a wave at backdoor and get barreled with no hand, you know, no grab, whatever it is, it's every time it's impactful. It's dangerous every time. And, you know, luckily I'm not a judge because it would be all 9s and 10s all day long. It's just how I'm wired. I just love it all. And so I think trying to get the message across that surfing is really difficult, and these guys and girls we have in the water are the best in the world. B, it's really dangerous. You know, the stats and everything don't lie. All those things are true. And, you know, C, it's a beautiful thing. This is the only sport really where, you know, you're dealing with moving elements, and there's nothing like it. So trying to get that across with, you know, every wave ridden while talking about scoring and, you know, why this wave was better than that wave. It's like most people viewing, I think, understand the fundamentals of what's happening in the water. But I think just celebrating the achievements of these surfers on every wave is huge, because it's not easy. Anyone who's ever surfed knows how hard this is.
For sure, for sure. So what's next, Chris? What's in store? Can you give us any sort of inside nuggets as to the 2023 season of the WSL?
I mean, it's basically starting now. Haleiwa is happening. This is probably one of my favorite times to be a surf fan, because you get to see the real heart and grit of our sport with these surfers trying to make the championship tour. Probably the most emotional time in surfing is right now, the last event on the Challenger Series, as we get to kind of see who makes the tour, which I love. Both sides of that, the emotional, you know, ups and downs these guys and girls go through. So I'll be watching that. Like I said, I'll be fingers crossed for Nazare and Jaws to run 2 big wave world tour events that hopefully I get the call for. We got the junior championships happening right down the street. The World Surf League junior champs are happening at Seaside down the street. So I get to be a part of that. And junior events are so fun because the level of surfing that you see, it gets you excited about what you're watching in the moment, but also about the future. You know, every kind of top tier junior surfing event that I've done recently has been an eye opener for sure. Gets you really hyped to know how good the next crop of surfers is coming. So, you know, those are kind of my next couple of events coming up. I've been out of the water for a couple weeks for no real reason, so I'm excited to just personally get back out there,
get back,
make more vlogs, have more fun.
Well, I mean, your sons are a chip off the old block, especially your older son, who's, I mean, his parkour skills and skating is just coming on leaps and bounds.
Oh yeah,
I must say, my youngest son, who's like, he's just turned 7. He's also riding half pipe now, and he watches Roman's videos, and he's like, yeah, man.
Hell yeah.
I want to give you a crash course in South African, because I've got this feeling that at some point, Chris, you're going to have to make the long trip down, bro. You're going to have to do it.
I really want to.
We've got this.
The cradle of civilization.
Not only that, but at the moment where I live, the cradle of great white sheltering, because recently it's been scientifically proven that on our shoreline, especially in Cape Town, and around False Bay, where there used to be a lot of shark cage diving happening, great whites, they've all left. All the great whites have left Cape Town, False Bay. The shark spotters are looking at empty beaches going, you know, for the last year and a half, where are the great white sharks, or even longer? And the reasoning is that we've had orcas rocking up on our shoreline, and these orcas have been hunting the sharks' livers. Okay, they've been killing up to 4 great whites a day, and now they've been communicating with other orcas globally to come, and the sharks have all congregated in a place that's 30 minutes from where I live. It's called Plettenberg Bay. There's a seal colony here, and apparently they're hiding out here. So we've got we've got quite an influx of great white sightings. I mean, I was buzzed about 2 months ago by a 14-footer a meter away from me. Anyway, I don't mean to put the heebie-jeebies up you, but bro, I still feel that I need to give you a lesson in South Africanism. Can I do that?
Yes, please.
Okay, bro. Crash course in South African talking. Now, we've got 11 official languages, but when you come to the Western Cape, and if you're going to surf dungeons with my mate Frank Solomon, and we're going to take you to J Bay, and we're going to stay with Sharon Croc, and Kelly knows all these slang words. You've got to know them, bro. Okay, so first I want you to say, this is how we greet each other. Funnily enough, it's also a Hawaiian greeting. How's it? We think about Turtle and the North Shore. And I interviewed Matt Adler. I don't know if you saw that, but I had a great interview with Matt Adler. But
he's the best.
Amazing human. Okay, so it's how's it, brew?
How's it, brew?
There we go. We down.
Yeah.
Now you got to say,
one,
when you see a guy cruising and smashing that right at J-Bay, you go, lekker wave, chom.
That's a word that I'm interested in. Lekker. Lekka.
Okay, lekker. Okay, so lekker, where they pronounce the r is Dutch. So the people from the Netherlands say lekker, and then they actually r. But we in South Africa, we don't go the r. We go, unless you're Afrikaans and you go lekker. But we go as English South Africans, we just go lekker.
Lekka. That's like mate or bro.
Yeah, no, lekker means good. Lekker wave chom. So chom is bro.
Lekker wave chom. Okay.
There you go.
So here in California, we'd say that was a sick one, bro.
Yeah, man. There we go. We're getting a lesson from California, guys. Sick one,
Lekka.
bro.
Lekka.
But we also say that, but we kind of say it with different, it's so sick, bro. We talk a little bit like this in Cape Town, Okay, and kiff. Have you heard of the word kiff? KIWF.
KIFF.
Yeah, kiff.
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 Does that mean to steal something? To take something?
No, it means like it's super rad. So it's like that's kiff, bro. That is kiff. Your wheels are kiff. Your board, your Pazal Gremlin is kiff, bro. It's kiff, but it's old, and I think you need a new one.
Kiff. I've never heard that one before. I like it.
And hashtag just saying purple. I think you should go with another color Gremlin next time, bro. Is it still purple?
I know. Things still got pop though. It's hanging around.
Okay. Smoke some burry and potatoes. Smoke.
Oh, smoke a joint and eat some French fries.
Smoke means would you dig? Smoke means would you dig some burry? Burry is like a sausage, like a wiener, but it's not like crap in there. It's like proper meat. Okay, and then we put it on the barbecue and we fry it. But then for potato, right? I happen to have one here, just handy in my pocket. We actually call a potato. Do you know what we call a potato?
No.
An art apple.
Art apple.
Yes.
Like that's a kiff art apple, bro.
Yeah. Can I smoke? I'll smoke some burry and art apple. Can you say that?
Smoke some burry and art apple.
There we go.
I would love a South African sausage.
Well,
got me dreaming about that South African sausage now.
Okay,
I love real meat.
Well, J-Bay Open is coming up. I was hoping you were going to make it this year, but I bumped into Strider on the beach and I was like, where's Chris? He's like, something about your flight or something like this, but I don't know. Dude.
Well,
you got to come.
I will put my hand up. I will put my hand up for that one this year.
Yeah.
Really like to go there sometime. I've
heard. Sorry, carry on.
Yes, I will definitely put my hand up for J Bay. There's a few events that I've never worked that I would love to. someday. I mean, the Australian leg is pretty well covered. Sounds like Hawaii is pretty well covered. You know, I always try to do Tahiti. I would love to do J Bay. I mean, I'll do whatever, but J Bay is definitely on the list. I just have this vision, like I'm gonna, you know, I just want to get one high line, one big pump, and if I can get one big pump, you know, that would be to me like J Bay, foot or two overhead on one of those nice glassy days. I just don't I don't see surfing getting much better than that unless it was a warm left. But as far as cold rights go, I don't think you can get much better than that. I think the one, you know, getting at least one good wave at every marquee spot in the world is a lofty goal. But you know, I've checked that box at a lot of places. And my marquee wave is obviously very different than a professional surfer's level of marquee wave. You know, my wave at my sessions at Chopa have been on head high days, which is totally fine for me. Same with Pipeline, head high, let's go. I think the best wave. Shit, was that in 2021? Yeah, 2 years ago. At Honolulu Bay, the unfortunate event that the guy got eaten by a shark. I probably caught one of the best waves of my life in one of the gnarliest crowds ever because I was trying to stay out of the way, and sometimes that works in your favor. So,
core memory, right?
I just really want to. Yeah, I'll never forget that wave. But I want that high line. I want to because since I was a very young kid. Watching Aki, especially at J Bay, something about just a long bottom turn, high line. Like I don't even have to do a snap. I just want to do a bottom turn, high line, and ride that red line up at the top of the wave for as long as I can. And then
just point and shoot.
Just go. Yeah, I don't even have to do a turn. I don't have to get barreled. I don't have to do any floaters. I just want to pump down the line at J Bay.
Yeah, let's manifest this, bro. And I want to be there to see it. In fact, I want to be there in the water to see you do it. Yeah, so we've got the wave
from sharks.
So what we should do is we should just, like, irrespective of whether you get the call from the WSL, I reckon we'll speak to a few of the sponsors here in South Africa, and you just rock up on site. You're like, hey, yo, Strider, I'm just here, bro. We just make it happen, right? We'll make it happen.
I'll do an episode of Surf Machine on site, J Bay. You get the sponsors, I'll provide the content, everybody wins.
Everybody's a winner. Okay, so Surf Machine, all the links will be down below. What's your Monday Mass with Todd Richards? All the links will be down below. Chris Cote's guitaring skills will be down below. What else do you do, bro? Cooking list? No. Yeah.
Oh,
there we go. There we go. Look at that beast. There we go. You came prepared. Keep going.
You know what I really want to do is get involved with some of that South African music. I think African music is the greatest music on the planet, the most joyful. And when I do come over and do our collab, then our Surf Machine collab, we'll definitely go to some record stores, a couple shows, do some dancing.
Oh, bro, you don't want to know. We're going to show you some amazing drumming, some amazing dancing, amazing bass guitarists. We're going to go and we'll get Mikey Feb to take us to some of his favorite jazz record stores, and we'll do all of that. We got the Wavescape Film Festival happening in March. Vans is the headline sponsor, and we're busy planning for that now. I'm actually trying to get Brad Gerlach out here for that. I'm chatting to him about that. Maybe he'll do a couple of, I don't know, surf camps or sessions or, you know. So I'm hoping to get Brad out here in March for the Wavescape Film Festival. If we can get you out here in July for the WSL, that'll be rad. Yeah,
I would
Chris,
love
thank you
to.
ever so much.